Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alyssa Corum here, and I am joined by Justin Nielsen. We're going to break down the action for the major indexes. Some substantial losses across the board today. There were a couple of bright spots, though, Justin, which we'll get into. Give us a preview.
Yeah, not very many, but we will take a look at Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG, also HubSpot, that's HUBS, and there was a lot of strength in the solar stock, so we'll take a look at the solar stock ETF, TAN.
All right, great. First, a look at the NASDAQ, which fell 3% today, Justin, while the S&P 500 down 2.4% and the Dow down 1.9%. So, you can't take a couple of days in isolation. It looked like we were getting some positive signals the last couple of sessions, a step in the right direction, but not quite all too surprising to see that resistance at the 50-day.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of those things where once you get a rally, and again, things were looking pretty good on Monday. That's what we call a pink rally day, where you have a day that closes down, but it was closing near the top of its range. It tested the lows. So that became day one of our rally attempt, and we're kind of looking for a follow-through day. But right now, we're looking like we're about to test those Monday lows. So now we didn't reach those levels on either the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ composite, but you're showing that Monday low right now for the NASDAQ. But as you said, that critical area of resistance was right there at the 50-day moving average line. That also coincides with 11,000. Sometimes those round numbers can be kind of problematic to get back above. Once you get back above it, it can act as a floor. But that first thing that you have to do is get back above it, and we're not there yet. So if we kind of flip over to the S&P 500, the S&P 500 was actually coming in a little bit more closer to that Monday low, and so that's going to be one to watch as well. This one didn't come quite as close to that the 50-day moving average line in this case, but really it isn't until you get back above the 21-day line that you're kind of in a better trend. So just because we cross above the 50 doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. Again, we want to see that follow through day, and we'd also like to see that move back above the 21-day line. And this is where it's really important to be watching the big picture every day to take a look and see, when we kind of shift things in the market direction.
Yeah, that's right. Some hurdles ahead for sure, but we'll be updating the audience every step of the way on that. And let's take a look at Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG. It was able to finish the day up about 1.2% in heavy volume, but it hit a little bit of resistance at this 21-day line, came well off of those intraday highs, but at least it was able to retake its 50-day line after a recent trip there.
Yeah, and this is where, we put this on leaderboard way back in May, on May 8th. So this is something where we have a lot of profit on, and this is really the first test of the 50-day moving average line that you've seen since that move. Now, it still looks okay. There's nothing broken about this. We never like reversals like that, but the fact that the market was down so much and this was able to close positive, that's pretty spectacular. And now if you flip over to the weekly, you can see that on the weekly chart, this is still looking like a very strong week. So great support at the 10-week moving average line. So the relative strength line is right there at new highs. So if the market does turn, if it can find support here and still kind of make its way back above the 50 and the 21-day, this is one that's kind of top of mind for me to potentially purchase, because that bounce off the 50-day and 10-week line looks great.
That's right. Definitely one for the top of the watch list in that case. So let's turn our attention now to HubSpot, HUBS. And this one also saw a reversal. It was only able to close up fractionally for the day. But what do you make of the action that we've seen lately for this enterprise software name?
Yeah, so it's kind of to show you that, hey, software is not necessarily down and out. There are still those pockets of strength. So 300 is kind of the level that I'm looking at right here. You can kind of see just below 300. That was an area that it kind of hit before. It tried to challenge that today, kind of got turned back. It is above its 21-day moving average line, and it has remained above its 50-day moving average line, never undercut it. So again, this is one where the relative strength line is showing strength. That's one of the reasons why this kind of popped on my radar, in addition to the fact that, again, just being up today was a pretty pretty impressive feat for any stock, with the markets down so much. So you always want to watch those stocks that are fighting the trend, the downtrend, and still trying to make progress. Even if they're down, they're the ones that aren't down as much. Those should be the ones kind of getting your attention. And it is important to stay engaged because those strong relative strength lines, those are the ones that tend to be your leaders in the next rally. And, a rally is always just around the corner.
Yeah, and we really can't underscore that enough. That's why these market Smith charts are so great. That relative strength line, that is something unique to us. And we have the research to back up why it is so valuable. So we're keeping a very sharp eye out for those strong relative strength lines. And last but not least, TAN, the Invesco Solar ETF. Justin, you mentioned strength in solar names. So the TAN ETF was able to close up 1.3% today. It too off of its intraday highs, but it was able to gap up and hold a decent amount of the gains.
Yeah, so you almost have this what looks like a kind of very sharp and V-shaped cup with handle. Now this is too short to be a cup with handle, and with ETFs, we're not always necessarily going for those patterns, especially for your market ETFs. We're really kind of looking for our follow-through days for those. But it is important to note that there is a lot of strength in solar, and granted, part of it was driven by Jinko Solar earnings. I think Jinko Solar, the symbol JKS, was up 20% today. So it was a phenomenal move there. But what I really like about TAN lately is that a lot of these solar stocks have been kind of taking turns leading, and sometimes it's Solar Edge, sometimes it's Enphase, sometimes it's Jinko Solar, First Solar. There's a number of them that keep on kind of trading leadership roles, but meanwhile, TAN has been kind of benefiting from the whole move of the group. So this is one of those cases where, it's kind of like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, because this has been a much easier hold than any of those individual stocks. And sometimes that is the benefit of the ETF, kind of strategy where you're not getting that single stock risk that you would have with otherwise. And the fact that you are still participating in that group move has made this again an easier hold.
All right, so this relatively recent high here, that's the level you're watching if, like you said, the market starts to improve,
That's the big
potentially
thing.
a buy area.
Right, that's the big thing is, all of these are things to be watching. We're kind of in that watch, wait, and see mode. You don't want to be taking big bets right now. You don't want to be getting aggressive in the market. This is, again, the time to be kind of doing your homework, watching to see how this plays out. And once that market does turn, again, watch the big picture, watch this show. We'll be alerting you to that. And when it does, that's when these stocks are going to be top of mind.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Justin. We're going to continue to break down those top stocks to watch here on our Stock Market Today show, as well as over at investors.com and IBD Live, our daily morning live stream where our experts are sharing their screens, talking about actionable stocks and watch list stocks in real time every morning, and taking a step back, putting everything into perspective with the broad market conditions. So we hope you join us over at investors.com/IBD Live. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Investors Business Daily on YouTube. If you want to watch more videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.